Hello there and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 7. Today we are taking a quick overview of the July update, which of course came out yesterday, but with it the Top Gear car pack, which I've done a video on, which you can see on my channel. Today though I'm just going to be covering the 2 July Spotlight cars, as well as a couple of improvements that have happened to the game. This is not all of the patch notes. If you want to go see them, I'll link them down in the description. But basically I'm covering the majors. So let's begin with the July Spotlight cars, which is 2 Porsche vehicles. We begin with the 2019 Porsche 911 GT3 RS, 514 horsepower, 346 foot-pound torque, 3,153 pounds of weight, S-Class 765 PI, rear-engined, rear-wheel drive, as you'd expect a 911 to be. This is the latest evolution of the GT3 RS. Of course, we've got the 2016 model in the game. This is a 991.2, and I don't think that one is. This one brings back the awesome little side decals. I don't really know it too differently from the 2016 cars. I'm not quite sure what the difference is. I know the power's a little bit increased, weight might be slightly less. I drove this one around the Top Gear track, and it drove kind of like the 2016 one did, which is sort of what you'd expect, and that is phenomenal, because these things are stupidly grippy. They're pretty good cars. You can get them unsettled relatively easy if you're a bit of an idiot, but if you sort of know what you're doing, you can get these things on track. They're really good cars to drive. This is a welcome addition to the game. I guess a somewhat surprising one. I wasn't really envisioning the GT3 RS to come along. Of course, we've got the GT2 RS, and we did already have a GT3 RS in the game of relatively similar vintage, but nevertheless, it's nice to see it in the game. Can't complain too much. You know, maybe there's some Porsches I would have rather seen. I'd rather have seen, say, the 718s come in or something like that, but I can't argue too much with the GT3 RS, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy with this one. More interestingly is the next car, the 1971 Porsche 23917-20, also known as the Pink Pig. 601 horsepower, 415 foot-pound torque, 2,004 pounds of weight, R-Class 863 PI, mid-engined, rear-wheel drive. Of course, this car is now more relevant because, well, the Pink Pig liveried Porsche 911, they did 2 retro livery Porsche 911s at Le Mans this year. One wore the Pink Pig livery, one wore the Rothmans livery. And the Pink Pig actually ended up winning within its class, so this car does become more relevant. This was a prototype racer from the 70s, don't know a whole lot about it. I know it's got a flat 12 engine, which is awesome. Do love me a good flat 12, one of the only flat 12s in existence, other than of course the Subaru Boxer F1 engine that never really was any good. Yeah. This car is pretty cool. I saw a lot of people very excited for this one. I love the livery. The livery is so weird. But yeah, so a lot of people excited to see this car come to the game. It is a pretty significant car in Porsche race car history, and perhaps one of the most distinctive prototype cars of all time. So that's your 2 July Spotlight cars. Of course, previously we've only had one each month, that being the Roush Mustang and the Civic Type R, which came into the game. These two, I think it's more significant than the Roush Mustang. However, for me, the Civic Type R is still the slightly more interesting of the 2 cars, but nevertheless, they are in the game. However, the car pack is out, and that's not the most important thing in this update. 2 new Porsches. That's also not the most interesting thing in this update. The most interesting thing in this update is a couple of game improvements, and let's start with the big one. This is the garage screen, and previously, it would lag a lot. However, I can now scroll through all of my cars painlessly. It's pretty great. So, of course, this was an issue that was plaguing the game since launch. Basically, the menus were extremely laggy. They were a little bit better on PC and on Xbox One X, but if you owned an original Xbox or had like a mid-range PC, these menus would be extremely hard to go through. They have now since improved it a little bit. There's still a couple of glitches. For example, sort of what we're seeing here, that can happen if you try and skip through it too fast and skip manufacturers and so on and so forth. The other manufacturers' images will remain. It'll take a couple of seconds to sort of keep up, but it's a lot better than it was. And of course, if you want a fast scroll, it's a lot easier now. So for example, if I wanted to go right to the bottom of this, it would take forever usually, but in this, yeah, I can just scroll straight down to the bottom. No real issues there. The reason they've done this, or how they've done this, is basically previously it would try to load the car in instantly. Like each time you were scrolling over a car, it would basically begin the loading process for that car. But now they've made it so it doesn't load the car until you've rested on the square for a certain amount of time, and then it will start loading the car. Again, it's still a little bit finicky. At times you can still have some menu laggy issues, it'll take a couple of seconds to keep up, but overall it is much better than it was previously. And this is a good feature for people who are going to keep large garages, which you can do now, because every single locked car, these were the cars that I was talking about in my first ever video on Forza Motorsport 7, basically there was a set amount of locked cars, you'd get those, they're basically the unicorn cars of this game. Now though, they are all gone. You can buy every single car in the game. Unfortunately, I don't have any locked cars to illustrate this with, because I sort of bought them all in excitement last night. There's still locked Forza editions. Forza editions are still locked, and the two unicorn cars in this game, which is the BMW Z4 M Coupe and the MGA, are staying locked. You can't get those, you can't buy them. But other than that, you can buy every single other car in the game now, which is pretty cool. I was going to just try and find where that MGA is, just so I can check something. But, yeah, it's a very welcome addition. Of course, this was something that bugged a lot of people. It bugged me that, yeah, you can't buy the MGA. But, yeah. It bugged me a lot as sort of someone who does the Forza Top Gear lap series and needs, you know, on-tap demand to all the cars. It was really frustrating to have to rent some cars, which I have done in the past, not too much in the later episodes because a lot more of the cars have been unlocked. I in fact only had 4 more to get, so this update for me sort of was a bit of a slap in the face, because it's like I've sort of spent all this time collecting all the cars and now they're unlocked, but I can't be mad for too long. It's a great update. I've seen a lot of people very happy about this. A lot of people in my friend circle are now happy to play Forza Motorsport 7, which they sort of previously abandoned it. Now they're much happier playing the game, which is awesome. Yeah, definitely an excellent addition. Personally, the menu scrolling is my favourite, but this locked car thing, yeah, especially if I was a person who like picked up the game very early on, this is a much better idea. I don't know why it wasn't like this from the start. I've got my own sort of personal qualms with the way this worked, and I do think it could have worked if they'd sort of hidden the cars or something like that, but overall, can't complain. Being able to buy every single car in the game is an absolute joy to do, so yeah, that is awesome. There's also been there's sort of the two major changes. There's been a couple of other small changes. For example, one no one's really mentioning, the message center appears to have changed. It didn't used to be this big and sort of clean, I guess. Sort of, they've now got, I'm trying to remember the name for it, I can't quite at the moment, but it looks a little bit more fadey into the background. The lettering is a lot bigger now. I don't know why they've done that, maybe to make it easier to read or something like that, but yeah, that's one of the small additions to the game. Another such small addition, for example, is in the Porsche 924 Carrera GTS. It actually does display the correct body kit preset word now. Before it would say, I think it borrowed it from the 240SX, but now it's sort of got its own little thing, so that's cool. There's a couple of small updates. Again, patch notes are in the description. I'm not going to cover every single sort of small little thing they've done, because quite frankly, that would be pointless. I'm not going to read patch notes to you. But I did sort of just want to show you the two major improvements. As I said in the car pack video, if you have not played Forza Motorsport 7 for a while, if sort of the locked cars put you off... Oh, actually, that's one more quick thing I need to point out. Just in the nick of time, speaking of locked cars, prize crates no longer have cars in them. I'm not quite sure why they did this. I can't say it was something that particularly affected me. I can't say I was that caring of it, but yeah, apparently they've got rid of the cars from the prize crate. I've accidentally ended up doing a send-off thing, which you'll see on Friday, but yeah, that wasn't intentional. But yeah, they've taken car crates out. Not 100% sure as to why they've done that, but they have, so that's something worth noting. I guess people can't complain about the game being pay to win or something, despite having no microtransactions. Anyways, yeah, that is the July update. As I said, if you've not played this game in a while, if the locked cars were putting you off, if the way the menu scrolled, if just general performance was putting you off, come back to Forza Motorsport 7, play it. Honest to God, the reaction online, people are very excited for this game now. I've had people tell me legitimately that this has now become their favourite Forza because these updates were all it needed to be a, well, bang-on perfect racing game. So, yeah, an exciting time for Forza fans indeed. Exciting time for me, makes my life a lot easier, and yeah, very happy about it indeed. Anyways, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Tell me what your favourite feature of the July update is in the comment section below. I'll be doing more Forza Motorsport 7 videos soon enough, so yeah, that should be all fun and games. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.